Welcome to Improve Your English Writing, video number 23, where I'll be covering the three-step editing process, and specifically correctness. So before we were covering conciseness, but now we're going to move on to correctness, where I'll be doing an overview and covering grammar, and under grammar, subject-verb agreement, and consistency of person, number, and tense. If you'd like to get notifications for the series, please click subscribe. If you like the video or think others will find it useful, please click like and check out links to books and videos in the description, like a link to the companion volume, Improve Your English Writing. So let me just quickly review the three-step editing process and what we've covered so far. So in the three-step editing process, we have step 1, which is document order and organization, and that was video number 11. And step number 2 is doing intense sentence level edits, and we did clarity, which was videos 12 through 17, conciseness, which was videos number 18 through 22, and now we're going to move on to step 3 of the three-step editing process and covering the sentence level polish, so which focuses on correctness, and this will be the topic of future videos. So in that three-step editing process, I did talk about one of the things that you want to do. Even under step 2, you always want to check your sentence type as you're doing your intense sentence level edits to make sure you have one of the 4 sentence types, the simple, compound, complex, or compound, complex. Once again, as you move through step 3, the sentence level polish, you want to reconfirm you do have a simple, compound, complex sentence. Basically, in step 2, you might have done a lot of edits, intense sentence level edits. You rearrange or rewrote the sentence, and this is just another check to make sure you have one of the 4 sentence types. And also remember, my next bullet point is remembering when you're self-editing, and these tips are from video number 12. If you want to go back and look at it, you want to allow time to pass, or time between editing passes. You want to read slowly and reread. So you want to break down the sentence into its component parts. Read slowly. Nothing can go right with rushing through an editing pass. And you also want to take breaks, like every edit for 50 minutes and then take a 10-minute break. That's what I recommend. So let's do a overview of correctness. So correctness means that the document follows the rules of a style guide. That's just basically a rule book, and here are the most popular rule books or style guides. By far the most popular is the Chicago Manual of Style, which is used for books. And then the Associated Press Style Book, which is mainly used for newspapers and magazines. Then you have the Gregg Reference Manual, which is mainly used in business. And then you have the Modern Language Association Handbook, or mainly referred to as the MLA, which is used for academic writing, mainly in the humanities. And then you have the Publication Manual for the American Psychological Association, the APA, which is also used for academic writing, mainly in the social sciences. These are the primary rule books, or style guides, and the most popular of these is the Chicago Manual of Style. So let's talk about grammar. I know it's everyone's favorite topic, but the good news, well, I should first say, all sentence when you're doing your sentence level polish now must be grammatically correct. So you need to check the grammar. And fortunately for us, we've already covered some grammar topics. So if you didn't realize we were actually talking about grammar, we were actually talking about grammar when we covered these topics. The 4 sentence types, which is video number 8. There are 4 sentence types. Dangling and misplaced modifiers is actually a grammar topic, covered in the video number 13. Parallelism, which is video number 16. and the past perfect tense, proper use of it in video 19. Those were the grammar topics that I've already covered. We're going to cover a few more in the upcoming videos. So the next 3 videos, well, I guess this video and the next 2 videos, we'll cover 10 additional grammar topics. Those will be subject-verb agreement, consistent use of person, number, and tense, which is be covered in the rest of this video. In video number 24, we'll cover that versus which. When do you use either one of those? Contractions and gender bias. And then video number 25 will be what I call the miscellaneous video, where we'll cover indefinite pronouns, subjects joined by and subjects joined by or, collective nouns, and subject is a phrase or clause and words between the subject and the verb. So I will be covering those grammar topics. No doubt, remember, if we go back to video number 1, I talked about the 80-20 principle. There are many more grammar topics to discuss that could be discussed, and maybe I will cover those in videos after this entire video series. But if I go back to that video of the 80-20, this is the 20% which you use 80% of the time. That's why I'm covering these. So let's move on to the first topic of grammar that I want to cover in these 3 videos, which is subject-verb agreement. So basically, the subject and verb must agree. And I'm talking about agreeing in number. So a singular subject uses a singular verb, and a plural subject uses a plural verb. Now the good news is that, well, I can say the below errors, or errors that you usually see in this, these types of errors, are usually unintentional, especially for a native speaker, and easily corrected during editing. However, certain situations are more problematic. So let's see what I'm talking about. Incorrect. The girls sing. Now, in my book, I only list one correct answer, and I realize it could be either one of 2, because you really don't know which way the person made the mistake. So is this really, is girl supposed to be singular or plural? Did you forget the S on the noun or on the verb? So correct would be the girl sings, meaning the subject is singular, so it requires a singular verb. Or maybe the person made a mistake. The verb was right, but just forgot to maybe type the S. So the girls sing. So both of these are correct. Let's just do another one. These are what I call straightforward examples. The boys plays. This is wrong. This is a plural subject with a singular. This verb is in the singular form. So we need to change it. Rather, it's the boys play. So they just got the verb form wrong, and the noun is plural. Or maybe they accidentally put an S on the boys by mistake. The boys play. So it's one of these 2 are correct. We're not too sure which way the person made the incorrect statement. I believe in the book I was saying that the noun was correct, and I was just correcting the verb. So now let's move on to consistency of person, number, and tense. So when I say person, I refer to first person, second, and third person. So first person is I or we, second person is you, and third person is he, she, it, and they. So you need a consistent person. You need to use a consistent person in the sentence. You can't change from first to second or from second to third in a sentence. You need to have it consistent. Number refers to singular or plural, so you need to keep everything, well, you need to keep, as you saw in the previous subject-verb agreement, you need to keep, if you're using a singular noun, you need to have a singular verb. So you need to keep things consistent that way. So it needs to be consistency in number. And need to have consistent tense. And tense just refers to the time of the verb, meaning past, present, or future. You can't be switching between past and future in the same context or sentence. So let's look at a few examples, or let's drill down to each one of these: person, number, and tense. So person, let's first look at person. Inconsistency in person usually occurs when referring to people with both the second and in both the second and third person. So you're using you and he, she, it, or when both, or when both you're using a second person you with a generic noun like plumber. So whether you have a second and third, notice how both of these involve the second person. So whether you're using a second and third person together when you can't, or you're using a second person with a generic noun like plumber. And see video number 24 for the use of the phrase he or she in these examples. I will use the phrase he or she just for example purposes, but using this phrase, you should go to see video number 24. So if you were confused by what I was just talking about, let's look at the examples, and hopefully this will clarify any misunderstandings. So incorrect is, if a person is late, you may be fired. So here you have an inconsistent person. Okay, so you're not consistent in the person, so you need to correct this by one of two ways. You rather say, if a person is late, he or she may be fired. Or you can correct it by saying, if you are late, you may be fired. Hopefully now, when you trace back up into these persons, you can see how there is a mismatch between these two, between the incorrect version, sorry, I was pointing to the wrong, and how the correct versions are actually, they are consistent in person. So let's move on to talking about number. Inconsistency usually occurs between a pronoun and the original noun. So incorrect, if a person is late, they should be fired. Here we have singular and we have plural. So you can't have singular and plural. So you correct this by rather, I want to say, if a person is late, he or she may be fired. So this is consistent in person. But remember, see the next video for using he or she. This is just demonstrating how you need to be consistent in number. Or you can correct this by saying, if people are late, they should be fired. Notice both people and they, these are both plural. So here the first incorrect difference in number, singular and plural. Here you're correcting it to the singular, and the next example you've corrected both to be consistency for plural. Now let's talk about tense. Tense, the inconsistency usually occurs when unnecessarily changing between the past and the present. Usually what happens is you write a sentence and you'll get the tense right, but when you start editing and things, you may actually change the tense by accident. I think that's where most problems arise, is that you're rewriting and you change it. So now you can see as we go through and do these, the sentence level polish, that we're going to start drilling down and looking at the grammar. Because at this point, we're not really rewriting the sentence for clarity and conciseness. We're changing it up. Notice these are small changes. We're not rewriting the complete sentence. We're just making it consistent. So now we're correcting the grammar. So, but this tense consistency, let's look at the examples. Incorrect is Maria walked in late and paces around the room. Basically a past to present. And then correct would be Maria walked in late and paced around the office. So that's it for this video. If you want to get notifications for the series, please click subscribe If you like the video, please hit like and check out links to books and videos in the description. Thank you.